Hello everyone, my name is EVOO and welcome to Cooking with the Coias. Now you may think that Bran Muffins are not very exciting, but I'm gonna help change that today because these Bran Muffins are not only exciting, but they are absolutely delicious and they will become one of your favorites. You will not turn down this Bran Muffin. Okay, so let's get started. I've got a cup of milk here. You could use, I've got 0%, which is skim milk, but you could use any milk you want. And as you can see, I've taken the juice from this one lemon. And I am going to add the juice from this one lemon that I freshly squoze. Oh, right about there. Okay, perfect. Now, if you don't have a fresh lemon, you could use 3 tablespoons of lemon juice. All right, so now that we've got our lemon juice in with the milk, I have here 1.5 cups of bran. It's wheat bran. Okay, so it's wheat bran that I'm using today. I've got 1.5 cups in here, and I'm just going to add this, what I'm going to call lemon milk, to the bran. And all you want to do here, very simply, I've got a spatula. I'm just going to incorporate it all and mix it all together. And you just want to make sure all that milk is incorporated into the wheat bran. All right, so let's get it all in there. And you want to do this first because as you're preparing the rest of your ingredients, you want this wheat bran to sit and absorb for a few minutes. So, 5 minutes is actually perfect. So there we go. I think we're all absorbed now. We've got everything incorporated. So now this can just, this can sit. Okay. That can sit. So while that's sitting, we're going to prepare our other ingredients. So for this, you're going to need 1 large egg. I have a brown egg. You could use a white egg. As long as it's a large egg, we need 1 egg for this recipe. And we'll crack that one. And then with a fork, very simply, just mix it up a bit, beat it just a little bit. There, that's enough. Okay, so our egg is ready. Now, here I have flour. I like to use unbleached flour, but you could use just a regular flour. And this is 140 grams. Now, if you do not have a weigh scale, I recommend you get one because it's essential in the kitchen. But if you don't have a weigh scale handy, 1 cup of flour or 140 grams of flour. So 1 cup will do it. And to our cup of flour, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of baking powder. 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And I'm also going to add a teaspoon of baking soda. And it looks like we're getting pretty low on the baking soda, but there's definitely a teaspoon in there. If I can get it. Okay, let's see if that's a teaspoon. Yeah, maybe just a little bit too much. There we go. We're going to add a little bit of salt. And to this, I'm going to use sea salt, but you can use regular table salt as long as it's fine salt. And I'm going to use 1/2 teaspoon of salt. We're going to put that in our flour as well. I'm just going to whisk those ingredients in with the flour. Done. Okay, so that's it for the flour. The flour is now ready. Our bran, we're going to let this sit just for another couple minutes, and then we're going to start adding to it. That has sat for a couple minutes, which is great. So we are going to add our 1 egg that we have lightly beaten. So we'll get that in there. Okay, and we're also going to add, I've got 1/3 cup of olive oil here. I'm using virgin olive oil, but you could use regular olive oil if you like. But this is a nice healthy choice. Now, if you don't have olive oil, of course you can use vegetable oil, sunflower oil, canola oil. But again, I like to use olive oil. Why not make Bran Muffin even healthier? Okay, and vanilla. We're going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. If you have real vanilla, by all means use it because it does make a difference. But if not, if you have the artificial, 1 teaspoon of artificial is also perfectly fine. And I have here 2/3 of a cup of brown sugar. If you want, you can cut back on the sugar as well. I like to use 2/3 of a cup, but if you want, you could try using just a half a cup. But what I recommend, the first time that you try this recipe, use the 2/3 of a cup of brown sugar and then kind of go from there. I want you to get the true feeling of this spectacular, and I'm going to say spectacular, bran muffin. If this was sitting at Tim Hortons or Starbucks, it would not get turned down. So now what we're going to do is we've already added the other ingredients to our flour, so now we just simply add our flour. Now in this stage, all you want to do here is mix this just so all the flour is incorporated. So in other words, you do not want to see any more white. Once that white has all been absorbed, that's when you know you've done enough. You don't want to over mix it, but you don't want to leave clumps of white flour like that either. So it has to be incorporated. So just keep mixing it around. Spatula works great, but if not, a wooden spoon or even a spoon will work fine. And I think we've got it all. Let's take a quick look. No more white. That's perfect. Okay, now we have the option to add a couple other ingredients. I have a half a cup of raisins. I went with the golden raisins this time, but these are going to be raisin bran muffins, so I'm going to add my half cup of raisins. And what I did with the raisins is I actually soaked them in water for about 5 minutes, just so they rehydrate a bit and they don't take away from the liquid in the bran muffin. Now I've got those mixed in there. You just want to mix it gently. I like to go from underneath and just lift up. You don't want to over mix again. And what I'm also going to add is a 1/4 cup of chopped walnuts. Okay, we're going to add our 1/4 cup of chopped walnuts. Same thing, just kind of gently mix by going underneath and lifting up. Turn around, just mix it all together. Nice and gently, because we've added our rising agent with that baking powder, so we don't want to flatten things out a bit. That's it. That's enough. Perfect. All right. Time to start filling our muffin cups. So I'm going to try not to make a mess here, but I've got I like to use this soup spoon and just take a spoonful of our bran mixture, and I like to put about a spoonful into each cup, and then I'll go back around and fill in some more. Now, as I'm doing this, the oven is preheating to 375 because these are going to have to cook for about 17 to 20 minutes. I went around once. I'm going to go around again, and you want to fill them, equally, because they're going to rise a little bit above the muffin cups. They will come a little bit above, but not much. After the second time around, whatever's left, I will go through and try to equally disperse it by topping up the ones that are a little bit lower. Not that it matters, but it's just what I like to do. This recipe that I'm sharing with you today will make 12 delicious bran muffins. And I'll tell you, they're great to have in the morning. They're great in the afternoon for a little snack with your espresso. Okay, now you see there, we're not going to waste any of that either. So now it's time to get the spatula, and just with the spatula, I scrape all the edges, get that little bit of bran mixture, and we're going to use that. We're not going to waste anything. Time to pop that in the oven. And like I say, we're going to cook it at 375, and it's going to bake for, I'm going to leave it in for 18 minutes, because I've got the grapes, I got the raisins in there along with the nuts. These are relatively level, so I'm going to leave them in there for 18 minutes. Perfect. Okay, whoops, let's stop that. Cancel that. Okay. Let's try that again. All right, we got to get those out. I need my oven mitts. Oven goes off. Now, I said 17 to 20 minutes. Now, depending on your oven, if your oven, oh, look at those. If your oven runs hot, you got to check these out. If your oven runs hot, then I would suggest starting to check at about 15 minutes. If your oven runs a little colder, then you're going to want to go the full 20 minutes. So what I do though, for me in my oven, it's 18 minutes at 375. So you have to figure out your oven, what the best time is. And the way you could check, if you're not sure, you put a toothpick into the middle of the bran muffin, and when you pull the toothpick out, it should be completely dry. Then you know they're cooked right through. So I'm just going to let those rest. Once they cool a little bit, then I'll take them out and I'm going to crack into one right away, have myself an espresso and a nice fresh bran muffin. These bran muffins will definitely become your favorite. No question about it. When I got the call from my sister, when she had one of my muffins and called me and said, oh my God, I have to have this recipe. Never had a muffin this good. That's when I knew I had a winner here. So I hope you give an opportunity to give these muffins a try. They'll become one of your favorites, and you're eating a bran muffin. It's healthy and good for you. I want to thank you for joining us on today's episode of Cooking with the Coias, and until next time, bon appetit. You are going to absolutely love these. Salute.